focuses on two numeracy intervention programs that are utilised within Australian schools. I'll be exploring the following concepts during this presentation. Firstly, I'll be exploring what numeracy is and why it is important for students to become numerate. Secondly, I'll be critically analysing the first numeracy intervention program, Taking Off with Numeracy, otherwise known as TOWN. Thirdly, I'll be critically analysing the second numeracy intervention program, Quick Smart Numeracy. During the analysis of each intervention program, I will also provide educators with recommendations on how to implement these programs within the school setting. Finally, I'll be comparing both the TOWN and Quick Smart Numeracy programs by discussing their similarities and differences. So what is numeracy? Numeracy is an essential aspect within the mathematics classroom, as it essentially forms the basis of students' learning. The teaching of numeracy provides students with the skills to choose the mathematics to use within a variety of contexts. Furthermore, it teaches students to apply mathematical skills and to evaluate their use when solving problems across a range of areas. When students are numerate, they are able to recognize and understand the role of mathematics in a variety of contexts. Furthermore, students are able to apply and evaluate strategies and communicate their thinking in a range of real-world situations. As teachers, we have a responsibility to ensure that students develop their numeracy skills and eventually become highly numerate. The following framework has been explored within the New South Wales Department of Education Numeracy K-12 policy, which explores the skills that students need to develop in order to become numerate. For the purpose of this presentation, I will be focusing on mental computation and numerical reasoning skills. So why do we use intervention programs? Intervention programs are utilised for at-risk students who are identified as not meeting the demands of syllabus outcomes in a range of concept areas. These students require targeted intervention programs to enable them to become numerate and hopefully close the gap between themselves and their peers. The first numeracy intervention program that I will be discussing is Taking Off with Numeracy, otherwise known as TOWN. This program focuses on improving the numeracy skills of students in the upper primary years, years 3 to 6, who are not performing at their expected stage level. During the initial aspects of this program, teachers will assess each student's current numeracy understanding and track their understanding using a research-based framework. I will explore this concept later on throughout the presentation. The TOWN program provides opportunities for all students to develop their numeracy understanding by participating in targeted lessons that explicitly teach students how to select and utilize specific strategies. TOWN provides educators with a range of strategies that can be utilized to improve students' place value understanding, as essentially this underpins the 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, as well as decimals and other concepts explored within measurement. Within the program, a strong focus is also given to teaching effective multiplication and division skills. According to Gould 2010, TOWN has a specific focus on place value, and in focusing on teaching children to move beyond inefficient counting strategies, such as counting on, to develop more efficient strategies and higher order mathematical understandings. As with any intervention program, there are several disadvantages and advantages that could occur. The first advantage of the TOWN program is that teachers have a clear assessment that they can utilize in order to determine students' numeracy understanding. This assessment process, although clear and consistent, is lengthy, and teachers would need a significant amount of time off class in order to complete it. Secondly, according to the Ministry Advisory Group on Literacy and Numeracy, the teachers surveyed for the purpose of the report explained that they benefited from receiving professional learning in the TOWN program. They explained that they developed their understanding of the numeracy skills that students need to develop and the strategies they need to be explicitly taught in order to become numerate. For teachers to develop their understanding in TOWN, they would need to be relieved off class regularly in order to complete their training, which could become costly for the school. Throughout this report, it also discussed that the schools that utilize Town improved their performance in numeracy. However, it is difficult to determine whether this is due to utilizing Town or for other reasons. This report also looks at Year 3 and Year 5 NAPLAN data for 2008 and 2011, and it suggested a trend of improved performance for those schools participating in Town. For example, in 2008, 8 schools were placed in the lowest 20% of all schools on NAPLAN, whereas in 2011, after participating in the Town intervention program, only 1 school was placed in the lowest 20%. Furthermore, in 2011, 16 schools were in the top 50% of schools, up from 3 in 2008. Aggregated data of this kind has many limitations, in that the impact of students with low achievement could actually not be determined. One interpretation of this data is that improved performance could be due to average and high-achieving students, rather than those with mathematical difficulties. In conclusion, it is evident that most of the research explored the benefit on teacher professional learning and their ability in developing numerate students, and the data about student improvement in numeracy is quite limited. So here you can see an action plan on how to implement Town within the school context. Firstly, the focus should be on the delivery of professional learning for all teachers. There are 2 phases within the delivery of professional learning to teachers. These include Phase 1, which participating teachers undertake school-based professional learning coordinated by a school team leader. The number of days is not specified. However, Phase 1 involves 1.5 terms. After Phase 1 is complete, Phase 2 begins. In Phase 2, participating teachers undertake 6 additional days of professional learning while implementing the program within their classrooms. Phase 2 involves 2.5 terms. So after teachers have received professional learning, it is important to assess students. So I've developed a plan for the Year 3 to 6 teachers within my school context. So the first is for teachers to determine a target group. All teachers should have students complete the Stage 2 and Stage 3 Town assessments. The teacher should then sort out each group of students into the following categories. So we have our apparent expert. This group will use a range of mental strategies to answer problems. We have an intermediate group. They would use counting on strategies and may attempt other grouping strategies when solving problems. Then we have our target group. This group relies heavily on perceptual representations of each number. Then there would be the uncertain group. In this group, students' recordings do not provide enough information to make a judgment. So this sorting out of work samples should be completed with the town leader, to ensure that teachers are consistent with judging students as work samples and students are grouped fairly. So this also enables a teacher to discuss with another person about grouping students to ensure that it's fair and that we actually develop a proper target group. After the sorting out of the assessments, the teacher should then complete a follow-up assessment, only with those students whose results are unclear, uncertain, and the targeted intervention group. So we should have 2 of these. This group of students will participate in another town assessment, which is a place value uncovering task, covered multiplication task, and solving problems using the Newman's error analysis. Using this follow-up task will identify the strategies that students use when mentally solving addition and subtraction of 2-digit numbers, and it also places students on the place value aspect on the numeracy continuum K to 10. Once these assessments are completed, students are then placed into their groups, and the targeted intervention can begin. So I've included an activity that teachers could utilize within their classroom during the delivery of town intervention programs. So this activity demonstrates how this program could be delivered to students. It has a clear direction and provides opportunities for educators to differentiate learning for all students according to their level of understanding. So as I discussed previously, the teacher would group students based on which place value aspect they are currently sitting on in the numeracy continuum K to 10. So then students would participate in the activity that's underneath their level of understanding, and the teacher will work with the target group. So the awesome thing about Town is that it can be implemented with resources that your school already has, such as cards, dice, and dominoes. Furthermore, during staff development days and stage planning days, teachers can work together to collaboratively develop plans like this one, which can be used over and over again. So furthermore, it is also important to understand that not every lesson needs to be organized into ability groups like the one that I just discussed. Lessons can be structured for whole class, ability grouping, mixed ability grouping, partner or individual work, depending on the need and purpose for that lesson. Differentiation can occur by modifying the questions, changing the range of numbers or the materials that students access, providing students with teacher-directed support, using flexible grouping, planning extension ideas, having students record their thinking in a variety of ways, such as whiteboards or in their books, providing opportunities for reflection time, and allowing students to determine the level of difficulty for particular activities. The second program that I'll be discussing is the Quick Smart Numeracy program, which was developed by researchers at the University of England, and it aims to develop fluency in numeracy. Students are withdrawn from the class in pairs and participate in intensive activities developed to improve automaticity and speed of retrieval for basic arithmetic facts. Graham, Bella and Pegg, 2007, argue that students having difficulties automating basic mathematical facts have an impaired speed of processing and have insufficient knowledge of which strategy to choose when solving problems. They also explore the idea that these are key factors in students developing mathematical learning disabilities. For the purpose of this presentation, I focused on primary school students. However, there is also a checklist for students who would benefit from the Quick Smart Numeracy program within the high school setting. The students who are candidates for this program are those that have failed NAPLAN tests and those that are selected by the teacher who demonstrate having learning difficulties in maths. Students also participate in standardized assessments such as the Progressive Achievement Test, otherwise known as PAT, and Cognitive Aptitude Assessment System, OSCAS, which can also be used as pre- and post-test measures after the intervention program is complete. So these selected students are withdrawn from the classroom in pairs, which is conducted 3 times a week for 30 minutes for a duration of 30 weeks. Either executives, teachers, or student learning and support officers who have been professionally trained are able to withdraw students from the classroom to deliver the program. The program begins with a review of facts that students already know, and then it moves on to those that students still have to remember. Discussions during the delivery of the program are led by the teacher, who questions students about the relationship between number facts and provides students with strategies to recall them automatically through fast practice activities. Then, students participate in activities with flashcards, which are timed to assist them with developing automaticity. At the conclusion of the lesson, students independently work on pre-selected worksheets that are related to the content explored within the lesson. So there are also a range of advantages and disadvantages that occur through the Quick Smart Numeracy program. So firstly, there is a range of evidence and research that has been collected and analysed to determine the effectiveness of the Quick Smart Numeracy program, which demonstrates the impact of speed and accuracy in basic facts and students being able to transfer this knowledge to achieve within other areas of numeracy. This is due to having clear assessments which are easy to track students' individual achievement through the PAT and OSCAS assessments. According to the Samir National Research Centre, 2011, the effectiveness of this intervention program explores that several thousand Indigenous and non-Indigenous students demonstrated a growth of 2 or 3 years in 1 year, compared with average achieving students. There was also a growth on results in standardized tests within the first years of implementation. Furthermore, Indigenous students who were involved in the Quick Smart program demonstrate improved results and attendance. As I've stated earlier, there has been a great deal of research and evidence gathered to analyse the efficacy of this program. For this presentation, I'll be discussing the research explored within the Ministry Advisory Group on Literacy and Numeracy 2010 report. They state that within the data gathered from the NPLN, Student Engagement and Program Evaluation Bureau 2012, staff involved within professional learning for the Quick Smart Numeracy program agreed that it was useful and noticed that students' numeracy achievement drastically improved. Furthermore, through analysing NAPLAN and NPLN assessment data, it demonstrated a growth of participants involved. However, it is still unclear if this is due to participating in the Quick Smart Numeracy program or from other factors. This is due to the ways that schools may implement the program and the comparison groups within schools and across the state. Finally, there is little evidence to demonstrate whether or not participating students continue to improve their mathematical understanding over time. Although a focus on automaticity alone may be insufficient to promote understanding of more complex mathematical problems, there is moderate evidence that effective numeracy intervention at any year level should include a proportion of time developed to practicing fluent retrieval of basic facts. Another advantage that contributes to student growth is the fact that during small group instruction, there are multiple opportunities for students to receive feedback on the errors they make and their successes during activities. Moving away from data, it is also important to discuss the disadvantages that could occur as a result of implementing this program. The first being that students are withdrawn from the classroom, which could impact on their confidence, as they may become embarrassed and develop the mindset that they are just not good at maths. It would also be difficult for teachers to ensure that students do not miss the delivery of other important concepts across all key learning areas when they are withdrawn. Furthermore, there is a licensing fee involved, and the funding at schools could be limited. Finally, it would also be difficult to allocate a specific teacher or teacher's aide to withdraw students and deliver the program effectively. I've included this action plan to demonstrate how teachers and other teaching staff would receive professional learning with the Quick Smart Numeracy program. For teachers to receive professional learning, they will need to attend a 2-day workshop. The principal and other external consultants would need to also attend a 1-day workshop. The first step after professional learning would be to identify students who are at risk of academic failure. So this is usually the bottom third of achieving students within the cohort. So teachers will use NAPLAN test scores and their knowledge of students with learning difficulties, as well as the PAT and AUSCAS assessments, to pre-test students and determine their needs and the target group. It is important to note that these tests can also be used as post-test measures in order to determine students' growth. The next step would be to select teachers who will be responsible for withdrawing students. Within my own school context, the Learning and Support teacher or Student Learning and Support officer would be responsible for this. They would withdraw the target students in pairs and begin the lesson using the following structure. So we have focus facts for 5 minutes, flashcards for 5 minutes, a speed sheet for 5 minutes, the AUSCAS assessment for 5 minutes, independent work for 5 minutes, and games for 5 minutes. So I've also included the structured lesson plan, which I received from the Samir National Research Centre. It is important to note that all the resources discussed within this lesson sequence are provided to educators after attending professional learning. So the first step is the focus facts, knowledge and understanding, check, which is delivered to students for 5 minutes. So students are in pairs. Here the teacher would review and discuss the current set of focus number facts, review errors and consolidate understanding. The teacher should focus on accurate and explicit strategies, which include developing understanding of number patterns and number sense. Furthermore, teachers should provide explicit instructions and explanations on the facts that are difficult for students to master. The second step is a flashcard, automatic recall of focus number facts, which also goes for 5 minutes. Here, the teacher can challenge students using flashcards to correctly answer as many number facts as possible, based on the focus for that lesson. Students' results should be graphed in their workbooks and discussed with them immediately, focusing on how to improve and the errors they made. The third step is a speed sheet challenge for 5 minutes. Within this activity, students work on speed worksheets based on the focus facts for 2 minutes. The teacher then graphs their results in their workbook and gives them feedback on both errors and successes. So the third step is the OSCAS assessment. So one student will complete this, and it's relevant to the operation that is the focus of that lesson. You need to ensure that the speed and accuracy results are graphed in the student folder and discussed with students. While one student is completing the OSCAS assessment, another student will be doing the independent worksheet. So this is based on the focus facts or the strategy being studied within this lesson. It's important to correct and give appropriate feedback. So then the students swap activities after 5 minutes. The last step is games for 5 minutes. So play a mathematics game to help students become quick and smart at automatically recalling number facts. Games include 3 in a row, same sums, double O, number dominoes, and numeracy bingo. So I will now discuss a comparison of both numeracy intervention programs by discussing their similarities and differences. So with the TOWN program, it can be delivered to the whole class within the classroom setting. The teacher also works with a target group while other students are independently improving their skills in place value. Whereas in Quick Smart Numeracy, pairs of students are withdrawn from the program. These are the only students who participate in this intervention program. Another difference is that TOWN uses a numeracy continuum K to 10 to track student achievement and to determine a target group. Whereas the Quick Smart Numeracy program uses PAT tests, the Cognitive Aptitude Assessment Systems test, NAPLAN data, and teacher background knowledge to track student achievement and determine a target group. Another difference is that Quick Smart has more data and research to determine the efficacy of this program on student achievement, whereas TOWN has limited data, and it really explains that teachers learn from this professional learning and enhance their understanding to make numerate students. The similarities are that there are clear and concise assessments that are utilized to determine students' numeracy, understanding, and achievement. There is also a focus on improving numeracy achievement in students. Determining the effectiveness of the program on student achievement is difficult for both of these programs due to the way data is conducted and analyzed. They both involve a cost, and they both discuss that teacher professional learning and delivery of lessons within numeracy significantly improved. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.